Hi everyone, Luwam here. I wanted to take some time and say thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for all the love, all the support, the phone calls, the texts, the purchasing the book in itself, sharing it with your friends, sharing it on your social media. It really, really does mean the world to me. And it's because of you that Between Two Worlds is getting the traction that it's getting today. We launched yesterday officially, and we've already done a good number of sales to date. So I'm very happy. My grandmother is happy. I'm sure she's smiling from heaven. And more than that, I hope that the book will inspire you to live life on your own terms. That's the main reason why I wrote it. And that's what I'm hoping you'll get out of it. Before I wanted to talk a little bit about some questions that I've been getting asked. I responded a great deal on Instagram already, but I wanted to dive in some more with you on this video. And then I also wanted to read a part of the book that's my favorite part. I'll start first with the questions that I was receiving on Instagram. Some of the ones that I really want to go into is, what made you write the book now? I have always wanted to write. I've always loved reading ever since I was a child. And the idea of writing my grandmother's story or a story on a powerful female, came to my mind back when we were in high school, when my husband and I were in high school. It took me 20 years to actually put that vision on paper and then publish it. So for all of the authors out there that, have a dream in mind and keep saying tomorrow, now is that tomorrow. Take that leap of faith and run with it. Another question that I got asked was, with 4 kids, now I have 4, but back when I started writing, I only had 3. But I was pregnant for a good portion of the editing part. How do you make it work? Well, I wanted to let you guys know that consistency and dedication is everything for me. It's the only way that I'm able to survive on a day-to-day basis. I have to stay consistent with everything I do. With the book, what I did and what really helped me was I only did 1,000 words a day, 3 times a week. It did take me a bit longer to publish the book or to write the book because of that, but at least it was something that was doable. If I had just said, I'm going to finish the 266-page book, in a matter of like 2, 3, 5, 6 months, it would have been overwhelmed. I would have been overwhelmed and it would have been overwhelming for me. So instead, what I did was I started off very slow, just 1,000 words a day, 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And sometimes, I promise you, I was even able to do more than that. There were times when I wrote 5,000 words because I was just in my element. But for the days where I was tired, the days that I just, I knew that I couldn't cope and I couldn't create. If I wasn't in a creative mode, I wasn't going to write. But knowing that I only had to do 1,000 words versus, 5,000 words, it helped. That was one of the biggest ones. The other one is who will play Annabella if this book does become a movie. And hands down, that has to be my little sister Rahwa. She is the closest person that resembles my grandmother to me. Her and my goddaughter, actually, Hosanna. That's the fun part. And then let's see, some other questions were, what was the hardest scene to write? I think the hardest scene to write was when my grandmother's grandmother, in the book, her name's Mama, when she passes away. And the reason why it was so hard to write is because at that time, my grandmother was actually declining in her health. And not too long after that, she actually passed away in December, a year ago. So that was very heavy for me to write. The last question that I wanted to share with you guys is, what do I hope you'll benefit? What will you benefit from the story? And I think that there's something in this book for everyone. For the lovers, there's the beautiful love scenes. For the romantic folks, for the mystery folks, people that like thrills, there's definitely a thrill in there. For the historic buffs, there's a bunch of historic tales in there. There's you're gonna learn about Ethiopia and Eritrea that's not shown in the news today. You're going to learn about royalty. You're going to learn about power. You're going to learn about leading your own path and doing things on your own terms. And for women of today, our society always tells us that we're supposed to conform to what society wants us to conform to, right? We're supposed to be happy in what we're doing. If we're a housewife, if we're a career woman, we're supposed to just shot on that one particular path. And here's a woman in the 1950s that said no, that said, hell no, I'm not going to conform to what society wants me to do. I'm going to live life on my terms. I'm going to be happy in what I want to do, even if I have to start from scratch. And that's a very powerful statement. And I want that to be our statement going forward. I want us to always say, no, I'm not going to do what you tell me to do. I'm going to do what I feel like is best for me. And as a mother of 2 girls, I think that is a story that I want them to run with, because I want them to know that they can be anything and everything they want to be, right? The other thing is, in a world that we live in today, where you're seeing Africa as, famished and war torn and just unstable. Here's an East Africa that's very strong. That's a leader that believes in Pan-Africanism, that wants the best for not only their particular countries, but for Africa in general. And I think this is, if not the best time to release this book, because especially in that part of the world right now, things aren't that good. And so, without further ado, I want to read my favorite passage from the book. It's chapter 10. It's called Meeting Him and Losing Her. 2 sips into my cappuccino, and 1,000 miles away in my thoughts, the sun that was shining on my face abruptly disappeared. I looked up and saw him, the intriguing and handsome man who had paid my bill at Alba the other day. Quickly composing myself, I said, "Hello? You're blocking my sunlight." "Am I?" he said. "My apologies, but you have been occupying my thoughts and therefore blocking my sunlight since the day I saw you at Alba with the princess. Seeing you here is most definitely fate. May I join you?" He didn't wait for me to answer, but simply pulled up a chair and took a seat next to me. I liked and admired his confidence, although it could easily come off as a bit too much. He gave me his hand and introduced himself. "I am Daniel Casai." When I told him my name, he repeated it with an Italian accent and kissed his fingertips as if he was complimenting the chef. He told me he was a banker in the city, and I could tell he was successful by the way he dressed, his impeccable grooming, and expensive cologne. He was wearing a 3-piece suit like the ones I had seen on fashionable men in London. He gushed about my beauty, telling me that my parents had made a great decision when they decided to call me Bella, since I was incredibly beautiful. I could not help but laugh, and to his dismay, could not stop. With every gesture he made, I continued to laugh, and his expression changed from happiness to confusion to hurt. His need to make me feel special was hilarious to me, and I told him that in the kindest way possible, after regaining some composure. "Do these lines work for you?" I asked. "What lines? I'm being sincere, and your laughter is quite rude. Honestly, I am offended." "Why? Because I do not fall for your words the way other ladies do? I am not like other women, Ato Daniel." "I see. What are you like? And please, just call me Daniel. Just Daniel." We were interrupted by the waitress, who clearly knew Daniel, and asked him if he wanted his usual drink. He nodded yes, and I could feel her look back and stare at me as she walked away. "You're quite the ladies' man, I see." That poor waitress is killing me in her thoughts right now. "Do not change the subject. What are you like?" he asked me. I gave him a confused look, and he said, "Well, you said you weren't like other women, so what are you like?" "Excuse me, but I was taught not to share private information with people whom I do not know." He smiled and said, "Okay, I can wait. In the meantime, I will tell you everything about myself so that you can get to know me." He told me he was born and raised in Asmara and that his family were from the south of Eritrea, from a province called Sarai. He did not know much about his village apart from the fact that his family owned land and that his father still had family there. He was a city kid, and I could see that clearly in him. He had never traveled outside of Eritrea, but knew that living in Asmara was just like being in Italy. I told him he was right. "Ah, so you're a traveler," he said. "Maybe, or I could just be into books and have read a great deal on Italy." "Where is your accent from?" he asked. "What accent?" I said. "Well, I know you are not from Asmara. I would have seen you before, and you were with the princess, which tells me you are either royalty or working for the royal family. Either way, I know you're not from here. Plus, everyone knows everyone here, and I'm from here, and I do not know you. Therefore, I ask again, where is your accent from? Are you from Addis Ababa? What brings you to Asmara?" I smiled, apologized again, and told him that I do not share personal information with people I do not know. Ay, Bella, Bella, you are not going to make this easy on me. However, I have a strong feeling that getting to know you will be worth the work. Therefore, I will continue to seek you out. For now, though, I must get back to work. I hope you have a wonderful day. He got up, took my hand in his, kissed it, and walked away. Just like that, he was gone. I watched him walk away, and not once did he hold back. The man was so full of everything. It was amusing. I turned to see the waitress and smiled, asking her for my check. And she said, Senora Daniel had paid the bill already.